Ohio gozaimasu, friends. Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. A little while back, I did a video rating the top 10 most popular Lattafa fragrances from best to worst. I figured let's go ahead and do that for their ultimate enemy, their nemesis, Armaf. Now, I actually don't know if they are enemies or anything like that, but you know, it's like Dior and Chanel, Armaf and Lattafa, same thing. So what I did is I went to Fragrantica.com, I searched up Armaf and sorted by most popular. And I took the top 10 most popular fragrances from there for today's video with a couple caveats. If there was a fragrance in the top 10 most popular, but it was made or marketed predominantly toward women, didn't count that since my viewership is almost all guys. And then also, I kept it to just 4 Club de Nuit fragrances, because otherwise this would basically just be me rating and ranking the Club de Nuit line, since that's mostly the most popular ones on there. And of course, as time goes, these could change. They could move up or down in the rankings depending on what's most popular at that time. So if you look a year from now, it could look decently different as far as what the top 10 most popular are. These are gonna be linked in the description below. Let's get it started with number 10, the worst, in my opinion, of the most popular fragrances for men from Armaf. This first choice was a pretty easy one. This is one I knew right away when I had that top 10 made. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be the worst. After this, from 9 to 1, that's a lot more difficult. Because there are a lot of those fragrances that, you know, you catch me on a different day, maybe I swap the position on them, but this one stays steadily at number 10. Tag Helm. Tag Helm. This is, for me, one of the worst hyped fragrances that Armaf has done. I think Tag Helm is just not that good. This is a Bleu de Chanel clone. The presentation is iffy. It has a magnetic cap, but one of those truly horrific magnetic caps, to the point where it's like, dude, I would have preferred just a regular one. Because yeah, it has a magnet in it, but it's the weakest magnet of all time. Check this out. Oh. How useful. I don't understand the thought process. They were like, we're gonna put a magnet in there because magnets are high end. Bleu de Chanel has a magnet in its cap, so we should do one on our clone. What happens if you try to, I don't know, lift this by the cap? So that's a knock against it. And then you have this little dog tag, get it, Tag Helm. And mine arrived when I bought it years ago, pretty much how it looks now, rusted. So that's great attention to detail, you gotta love that. And then the bottle itself, I have actually another Tag Helm, not this one, a flanker. And this little piece right here is just glued on the side and it just popped off, the little silver piece, boop. So it's not well made, is what I'm trying to say. And then the fragrance itself, does it smell like Bleu de Chanel? Yeah, in the sense of a dollar store fragrance that smells like Bleu de Chanel smells like Bleu de Chanel. It gets you part of the way there, but the whole way there, you're smelling like you definitely cheaped out. A lot of times with clone fragrances, you would say in the air, you can't really tell much of a difference. This, you can. So Tag Helm, number 10, the worst. Number 9, and as I said, this is where it gets more difficult. I think in actuality that from number 9 to number 1, none of these are bad, especially when you consider the price point. By and large, Armaf fragrances are really cheap and you get a lot of bang for your buck. So understand that there is a gulf, a cavern, a Grand Canyon between number 10 and number 9. And with number 9, I go with Craze. Now I know a lot of people are gonna be like, nah man, Craze? You can't put that low on the list. It's so disrespectful. So this one comes from an earlier time frame of Armaf. You know, they really stepped up as far as the presentation goes, the quality goes of the fragrance, the atomizer of everything. And this is back from like the Tag Helm days where things were iffy. Now I've talked about this before, but my bottle, yeah, it broke. And this was not long after I got it, and this is how I broke it, okay? Here's the bottle. See how this is where it's supposed to be on the collar of the bottle? So I had the cap on, and here's how I broke it. I took the cap off. It shattered. What? I don't know what kind of plastic this was made of. This little piece right here that's supposed to snap in right there, but it shattered, yeah. Pretty rough. So the quality, not great, you could say. This is a clone of Parfums de Marly Pegasus, and even though the presentation for me is, you know, is what it is, the fragrance itself does a pretty good job at smelling similar to Pegasus for a good price. And I think that overall the smell of Craze is much better than what's going on over here. So like I said, a big gap between here and here, but I still gotta put that there. And to be fair, this is just my own personal taste, obviously. I'm not a huge fan of Pegasus, so that plays into it. Number 8, Ventana. And this is a clone of Dior Sauvage, and actually pretty good clone. Now there are a number of fragrances out there that are alternatives to Dior Sauvage. Actually, Armaf has a number of fragrances out there that are similar to Dior Sauvage, so they got more than just this one. It's got a pretty good push to it. You know, projection is good, longevity is good, not quite as good as Sauvage, but it's fine because you're paying a much lower price point. And the quality on this one is decent as well. The presentation is once again typical Armaf. A little love it or hate it. It doesn't feel very good in the hand, like really plasticky, but other than that, this is a solid one. And this is one that I might have moved up higher in the list, but some of the ones coming after this are just beasts. So this one falls into 8th, but it's not because of the fragrance. The fragrance is actually good. And like I said, if you want a cheap Sauvage, that's a really solid one. You can wear that like all year, basically. So pretty nice. Before we head to the next fragrance, here are some codes. Use these codes to save yourself some money across different websites, including fragflex.com, which is a discounter, the perfumebox.com, which is also a discounter. Then tripletraders.com will have your hookup for clone fragrances. And of course, we have Max Aroma, Twisted Lily, and the others. Number 7, and oof, this one, yeah, it kind of hurts putting this here, but Untold. Club de Nuit Untold. Now, like I said, I was keeping Club de Nuit to just 4 in here. That way it didn't just become nothing but Club de Nuit. And this one was just ahead of Club de Nuit Iconic as of when I'm shooting this video. So Iconic just missed out on being featured. Untold is a clone of Baccarat Rouge 540, and it is a good alternative. This one is more masculine leaning than Baccarat Rouge 540, which makes it firmly unisex. Guys can rock this just as easily as ladies. And this one I think is actually really well done. Nice performance, good quality, presentation looks nice. I actually like the color scheme, everything on here. So there's not really much bad to say about it. Now, one thing that detracts from this a little bit is gonna be the price point. I'm pretty sure it's the most expensive one here. Not by an astronomical amount. It used to be more expensive, but the prices have come down a little bit, but it's still, you know, gonna be about 30% more expensive than most of the other ones here. To be fair, when you're talking Armaf, 30% is not a huge difference, but still yet, if this does as good a job, you know, cloning its fragrance as some of the other ones do cloning theirs, and this one is 30% more. But if you catch me on a different day, maybe I move Untold further up the list. I think that it could leapfrog like the next one for sure, and depending on which day you catch me, it may very well do that, but for now, I'm gonna put it here. And there is a wide world of Baccarat Rouge 540 alternatives, both cheaper ones than this one, and more expensive as well. So if you really want to, you can scratch that BR 540 itch at about every price point. Next up, we have Sillage, another Club de Nuit, and this is Silver Mountain Water. It's pretty cheap from discounters, about 30, 32 bucks, somewhere around there, and it's pretty well done. Now, to be fair, Silver Mountain Water is not my favorite Creed. If we're talking about the more popular Creed fragrances, I would take Green Irish Tweed over that. I would take Aventus. I would take Millesime Imperial, Virgin Island Water, Rolfa. I would take a lot. Royal Oud, and others as well. I mean, it's not that I hate it. I don't hate it. It's just those other ones work a little better for me. So this one has kind of a metallic feel, you know, that inkiness that you get from Silver Mountain Water, and for some people that doesn't work super well. But I think it's well done. And for about 30, 32 bucks, as I said, it's a great bang for your buck. But realistically, for me, these two are kind of tied. So keep that in mind. Yes, they're in different spots, but there's not much difference there. I mean, there's a big difference in how they smell, just the ranking. All right, top 5, Hunter Intense. I will say that if you're looking for just an inexpensive, versatile, compliment pulling fragrance from Armaf, that's actually gonna be one of your better bets, like top 3. And this is kind of a blend, like Sauvage meets Invictus. Paco Rabanne, Invictus, Dior Sauvage. Kind of meld those together a bit, and you get something like this. And it's also really affordable. From discounters, 20 bucks, 20, 21, 22, right around there. So this one is an amazing bang for your buck. Great versatility. As I said, big compliment puller. Smells similar to very popular fragrances out there, and it's not gonna cost you much at all. And this is one that, even as I'm standing here right now, I'm thinking, maybe I should bump that up a little bit. This top 5 is just like, they're this close, okay? But I guess for now, we're gonna stick it right there, number 5. But as I said, if you're just looking for something versatile and compliment pulling, that needs to be one of the first ones you get from the brand. This list is sort of personal taste mixed with value proposition and how well the fragrances do as clones. But if you're taking into account, like I said, versatility, compliment factor, bang for buck, just those things, and you just kind of remove like what it's cloning and how good it does in that kind of aspect, move this up. Number 4 is Milestone, another Club de Nuit, and this is Millésime Imperial. And this is one that some people would move further down, for sure. But I'm a big fan of Millésime Imperial. I like it a lot. And this has that saltiness, salty, aquatic, with some, fresh fruits off the top. That same vibe as Millésime Imperial. But I know full well that for some people, that saltiness, the way it comes across, they don't like it. For me though, I think it's really well done. And that one is affordable. It's one that's gonna be priced about the same as Sillage. Actually, slightly less. I think this one you can get under 30. So yeah, it's just a great bang for your buck. Good alternative to Millésime Imperial, and well done. We're in the top 3. Number 3, I'm gonna go with this one, Odyssey, which is kind of an odd one out. I actually did not expect to see that in the top 10 at all. It's not really what I would think of off the top of my head as like one of the biggest ones from Armaf. But to be fair, I did leave out a couple of the Club de Nuits, so yeah. But still, Odyssey has spawned a lot of flankers. So it's obvious that this line is doing pretty well because Armaf just keeps releasing new ones, which, compared to like Craze and Tag Him, these aren't really getting new releases, right? But Odyssey sure is, getting a bunch. And by and large, they're really well done and for a pretty good price. This one is sort of a mix. As it dries down, it's more like Tom Ford Noir Extreme. In the opening, it's closer to Spice Bomb. So it's kind of like a melding of those two fragrances. In a way, Hunter Intense, Sauvage, Invictus. In a way, this Noir Extreme Spice Bomb. It's another one I think is really well done. The quality's there for the price point. Presentation looks pretty good, things considered. It does look a little bit like a thermos or something like that, but then this is just all the cap. Because it looks like this part would detach and then you would have this, holding the cap on, but nah. But yeah, Odyssey Ohm, this stuff is good, and I feel like it's a really nice one for fall and winter during the evening. It's got a nice little classiness to it. All right, gonna show my fanboy-ism here in the top 2, Très Nuit, number 2. This is a clone of Green Irish Tweed from Creed. And this is one of the, I guess we'll call it at this point, earlier Armaf releases, at least when they were starting to really take off in a big way in the fragrance community. And this is an early one that was actually pretty well done. I bagged on some of the other ones saying, oh, they're real cheap and not so great. I mean, it does have some interesting styling to it where they basically like wrapped a leather belt around the bottle is what it looks like, but all things considered, it's kind of low key for what they did with some. You know, some of the other bottles are worse. But yeah, this stuff is crazy cheap, dirt cheap. You know, this is one of those clearance bin priced fragrances, honestly. $20 typically for that one. You can find it for less sometimes as well. So for that price point, it is an absurdly good alternative to Green Irish Tweed. And I am a Green Irish Tweed fan. So that's why it's here. Like I said to you guys, if you're looking for just compliments, okay, that's all you care about, then this one is one that you want. Maybe this one, depending on when you're gonna use it, this one. And Green Irish Tweed is real classy. I mean, this smells similar to it, like I said, so super classy, very wearable, very versatile. It smells great, but this is gonna do better for you, probably. Number 1, CDNIM. Club de Nuit Intense Man. Now, to be fair, there were a lot of Club de Nuit Intense Man fragrances in the top 10 most popular. So I just kind of combined all of that to this. So limited edition, the Parfum edition, you know, there's the new Club de Nuit Précieux 1, which is basically Absolute Aventus. So you have all these different Club de Nuit Intense Man sort of fragrances, and I wasn't going to include all of those as separate ones. You know, like, oh, well, here's the Parfum, here's the Eau de Toilette, here's the Eau de Parfum, here's the limited edition, because then you take up like the whole list with just freaking Club de Nuit Intense Man releases, right? So all of those combined right here. That's what this is supposed to be, okay? And I feel like you just kind of gotta put that as number 1. I mean, it's just massive everywhere. And it still works really well. The price point is great, very cheap. Performance is huge. And yeah, the opening for some people can be a little off-putting. Truth be told, it's not that bad. I don't know if that's because I've smelled it so many times at this point, but you know, it's not. And just a couple minutes in, it starts to smell so much better. And in the dry down, this stuff is fantastic for that price point. One of the best Aventus alternatives for that price you will ever find. And you can wear this stuff year round, daytime or evening. During summer, maybe don't go crazy heavy. And this is another one that is a big attention grabber, and there are a lot of people that will attest to that. So Club de Nuit Intense Man, that's gotta be number 1, right? So there we go. That's the top 10 most popular from worst to best, best to worst. As I said earlier, some of these I might change around, you know, depending on the day. I think the main ones that I would potentially move would be sliding Hunter Intense up and maybe Untold up, like a spot. Hunter Intense, I could actually move that into the top 3. Like I could do this and be okay with that. Actually, it might feel better that way if I did that, but it's already done. What's done is done. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video.